Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry, I've been a bit tardy coming back to all of you with my Aishwarya Rai. So I did announce that there will be a star excerpt from Encounters with the Rich and Famous, and the star that we'll focus on follows Amitabh in my book, and of course it's Aishwarya Rai Bachchan, the next Bachchan that would match him in his iconic stature. So I'm experimenting a little with the tech. So this is a mic that I've attached in case I break into song. So I'm warning you well in advance that I just might. Okay, so now here's the Aishwarya Rai Bachchan chapter. The picture of us together was done at Chantilly. I was invited, of course Hello was invited, and Ruchika very kindly sent me across to attend the Priest Diane Longines annual race in Chantilly, France. And Aishwarya has been the Longines Ambassadrice d'Elegance for I think more than 2 decades, because apparently this association began when she was not even yet a movie star. So it's almost like their family. And the morning we met, I had no clue that Ash was deliberately, you look at her body language, she's trying to hide her stomach. She was 5 months pregnant and nobody was the wiser. She had kept it a good secret. But what I found really amazing was that she had braved 4 flights from India to Chantilly because the direct flights were cancelled for some reason. And I remember the international media, because she was supposed to start talking to the media the very first evening that all of us landed up in Chantilly. And because she wasn't able to, because she landed in late, I heard some girls in the queue to the elevator saying, "Oh, guess we'll meet her when the princess is ready to talk." And I was a little upset, I was feeling that was unfair, because when you've not got a direct flight and you're doing 4 flights, you deserve the grace of 1 evening to recover from 4 flights, notwithstanding that none of us knew she was 5 months pregnant. So I told the journalist off. I said, "Excuse me, but she missed her direct flight and she got onto 4 different flights to get here." So I think we need to be a little bit more compassionate, more understanding. And then the following morning, so the interviews were all scheduled for the following morning, and this was Ash. And I can't tell you, when people ask me, what is it like sitting directly in front of Aishwarya's face and talking to a person who looks this picturesque, it really felt like I was talking to a work of art. Like if a work of art could speak, she was like a 3D installation that had descended from some other world and was talking to me. And I hope I wasn't looking too in awe of her when we spoke. But what I also enjoyed very much about meeting Ash in person was that she conducts herself with a lot of poise. And there were representatives from the Longines family watching us, listening into each and every word. So she didn't skip a beat. She didn't once hesitate at any level about this, about what she was sharing about the brand. So when I opened the chapter, I've called her Nature's Pièce de Résistance. And it starts saying she is every Indian man's ideal girlfriend and wife, a Paro from Devdas, an emperor's wife in Jodha Akbar, a beach-combing Brazilian beauty with attitude in Dhoom, a nurturing diva-type nurse with a steely devotion to her invalid love in Guzarish. If our cinema is lyricism in pictures, Aishwarya Rai Bachchan multiplies that lyricism many, many, many times over. An elite matchmaker in South Bombay told me once that she had pot-bellied men in their 40s and 50s putting down wife like Aishwarya Rai as a description of the woman they were wanting in their lives. Even if they look like frog princes, this was their baseline requirement. Let's not even say top line, baseline. Sabir Bhatia, the hot male millionaire, had sent her a proposal. The incorrigible Salman Khan made an electrifying co-star in such epic films like Hum Dil De Chuke Sanam, among others, and lived in a haze of Aishwarya mania for 2 whole years, but she did not want to marry at that time. However, it was clear that somehow Ash had a serious screen soulmate in Hrithik Roshan. So Mr. Abhishek Bachchan got really, really lucky that he ended up marrying this woman who was everybody's fantasy, and we're talking of a large nation and the world at large. And he said so many times, he feels lucky waking up next to Miss Rai, even wondering, is this for real? The way I was wondering when I was talking to Ash, is this for real? Imagine being a lifelong companion to the face and body that has launched 1,000 commercial enterprises. I would think of her as Miss Longines Rai, Miss L'Oreal Rai, and every Indian man's Rai on ultimate beauty. But what is it like being a custodian of global fame and goddess-like beauty day in and day out? Does Aishwarya enjoy having to look like a goddess when she is jet-lagged, tired from 4 flights, suffering from bloating, pregnant, overweight from hormonal changes, and the hunger that breastfeeding causes? Is it easy being a walking, talking icon who is judged for the way you present yourself to the world every nanosecond on life's ceaseless ticker tape? Does the world of shutterbugs ever back off? When Longines invited Hello to the Priest the Diane race held at Chantilly on the outskirts of Paris, I had my first extensive exposure to the world's most beautiful woman, and also to the challenges a natural jewel like her faces when nature has started to effect changes. Her direct flight to Paris was cancelled, so she reached a day after the scheduled time and had to change 4 flights. The international media, all putting up in the Chantilly Palace Hotel, could be heard cribbing, and this is what I was sharing with you earlier. So, of course, it was funny that she was so secretive. She had signed up to be Madhur Bhandarkar's character heroine, and without informing him that she would not quite look the part in a matter of just a few weeks. The next morning, each media person was ushered into a room where Ash spoke for 10 to 15 minutes at a time about her 12-year-long association with Longines in front of Walter von Cannell, president of the Swiss watch brand. It was a non-stop talkathon for Ash before she would present herself at the actual Priest the Diane Longines 2011 race at the Chantilly racecourse. This was the first time in that year that Longines became the title partner for the epic race. My session with her was, simply put, educative. As I sat before Ash, she spoke with a familiarity. Possibly she had read our extensive profiles on Bollywood personalities, or possibly because, like her family, she just loved Hello. But I sensed a healthy respect for the interview process, which is so essential for a good story. Talking directly to Ash, I got to look right into her jewel eyes, those gorgeously famous features, and naturally lush lips. It felt like I was talking to a porcelain Barbie doll, of no racial descent in particular. She was a gift to humanity, a flag bearer of womanly beauty potential. A face like this was meant to launch 1,000 stories, products, fantasies, dreams, even paintings. I did work Ash's face into a Radha Krishna painting I subsequently made on my return. I will show you what that painting looks like. And the joke is that I eventually, when I got a chance to meet Jaya Bachchan ji, I just showed her a printed photograph of this work. And it was quite hilarious because she said, "You've done great justice to Ash, but you have made Abhishek look very strange." So we had a good laugh over that. And nevertheless, I asked her to send the picture out to Ash. But I showed it to Aishwarya on my mobile phone once. I remember at the China, there was this great party happening, Abu Sandeep celebrating an anniversary, and Ash was around, so I just opened the picture on my phone and she's like, "Wow, yes, it does look like me." It's a great compliment to the artist, the weekend artist in me. Anyway, so as we go through the storyline, what I basically felt is that Um, she was very nonchalant about, having the perfect body. She was never obsessive. She never sounded obsessive to me. In fact, she said, I don't think I've ever succumbed to the pressures of show business where you let other people define who you are. It's important for me to know who I am, and that's it. I am defined by who I am on my terms every day. Okay, which makes a lot of sense. How neurotic would it be to be looking in the mirror, weighing yourself every nanosecond? I mean, it would drive anybody insane. So I remembered then having these interactions with international personalities who mentioned that somehow Indian faces were so versatile because the Indian race seems to be a polyglot of many, many races combined. And on the global stage, India's stock as a manufacturer of feminine beauty had been very, very high after Ash won the Miss World title, Sushmita won Miss Universe, and then in another year there were again 3 winners. I think the year Priyanka won, there were 2 other titles, Dia Mirza and one other title winner, all from India. These were amazing, amazing shifts in a global perception about Indian beauty. So what that woman had shared when I was at L'Officiel magazine, there's a lady who represented. She was a worldwide director of the 4th Supermodel of the World contest, and her name was Iris Minier. And what she had explained is that you have a great genetic diversity in India. There is no generic Indian face. Her name, the local rep's name was Deepti Dutt. And she used to come to chat with us at L'Officiel and, share these really interesting insights. Indian faces can sometimes have Grecian features, Italian skin. Where are we? Yeah. Italian skin and hair tones, African thickness of the lips, Nordic high and chiseled cheekbones, and some girls look Latina, others look Hispanic. Where it came to Ash's appearance at the races, I had the Taiwan representative of Longines saying, is she really, really Indian? And I was laughing. I said, yes, she's very much Indian. But even at the back of my mind, there was a tiny little question that arose about her ancestry. Like if we actually had to trace the family ancestry, maybe, you never know, maybe there was a tribe of Europeans or Grecian tribes that settled in Tululand, and that's why you have these tall, statuesque and beautiful women like Shilpa Shetty and Ash. So it did lead to a new line of questioning in my mind. So I did convince them, yes, she was 100% Indian, though she looked every bit a European. And one very interesting moment I remember was when she was walking on the field so they brought her on a chariot into the arena. And I was told by the Longines people that the only other woman to have enjoyed that honor of being brought on a chariot to the races was Queen Elizabeth herself. And this was happening 35 years after Queen Elizabeth was brought on a chariot into the Longines, into the race. So the 4th Supermodel people made their point with the Indian beauty potential, talking about how they discovered Bipasha Basu in 1997, Vidisha Pawar in 1996, Meghna Reddy 1995. And when I asked Iris Minier what the world beauty market wanted, she said at least 174 cm in height, smooth skin, a certain equilibrium in morphology, good bone structure, and a girl cannot have a mouth that goes down. It has to turn up or stay straight. Interesting. And then she said there are 2 faces that have truly conquered the world. One is a lady called Naomi Lenoir, who's from the islands, and Aishwarya Rai from India. These are 2 faces that have truly conquered the world. But there is one difference. Ash today is cushioned by marriage into a wonderful and respectable family. She has an adorable baby, the Aradhya, an adoring husband, not a baby now, she's a young woman, a young lady I should say. Aishwarya will not quiver even if a powerful lady like Iris Minier trills that in the movies you are as good as your last film, and in the modeling scene you are as good as your last magazine cover. Obviously now with Instagram and all, people are more empowered, and they are not victims of the old school of curation where only one face would be seen everywhere. So that monopoly that the magazine press and the magazine scene enjoyed has whittled down, and now everyone's an Instagram star and everyone's powerful. In an interview in the Hello UK at the Royal Ascot race, Aishwarya shared, "I've just gone with the flow. It's very sweet of my well-wishers asking me, when are we going to see you back on screen? When's your next film coming out?" And I'm like, thank you. I have no concept of how quickly time's flown by, but thank you for missing me. So, she voluntarily stepped away from shoots for 5 years after Aradhya was born, and she wanted to enjoy being a mom. And that takes a certain perspective, that takes a certain strength of personality, clarity, which I think was quite admirable. And then she was taking on these commitments. I remember with coming on the soft grassy turf of the races, wearing 5-inch stiletto heels, 5 months pregnant, undeclared. It's quite a gamble, it was quite scary when I thought about it later. The only sort of slightly controversial moments in Ash's career was, I think, when someone like Sonam once said that they were both going to appear as ambassadors for L'Oreal at the Cannes Film Festival, and Sonam made the mistake of saying, well, Aishwarya auntie is good for the older consumers of the brand, whereas she's like, I would talk to the younger consumers. And Aishwarya was furious at being referred to as an auntie, and she refused to walk the red carpet with Sonam. And in my view, I put down that you don't auntify a goddess who transcends age, circumstance, nationality, and time. And Aishwarya comes along once in an epoch, like a Noor Jahan for whom the Taj Mahal was built. And I'm really surprised they haven't cast Ash as a Noor Jahan. She would be the most evocative actress to do that role. And you would truly believe a Taj Mahal needed to be built for someone with that kind of beauty. Because I believe Noor Jahan had Persian antecedents and she actually had blue eyes. From what one can tell, there won't be another Ash for another epoch to come. Only pale wannabes strutting fewer birthdays as their calling card. Ash's parents, so my last memory in the story was when Ash had just won Miss World. I was with a television show called the Amul India Show, and we were filming Aishwarya's parents in their home, their very middle class apartment in Khar. And out of curiosity, I went into Aishwarya's bedroom to see what kind of beauty potions I might find. And all I found were Body Shop products, nothing but Body Shop. And lots of books on architecture, because initially she was considering being an architecture after reading Howard Roark's iconic book, I think Atlas Shrugged. So, and her parents were really simple, no nonsense South Indian parents, very academic in their demeanor, very well spoken, very no nonsense. So what I love about Aishwarya today is that beauty not only comes naturally to Miss Rai, but she doesn't care to hold on to it in a neurotic way. She was okay to put on those pounds. She was okay with the extra baggage, appearing at the Cannes Festival with double chins, wearing this very interestingly lacy gown, which actually added even more weight to her. And she doesn't care beyond a point. So she's not a neurotic person. And that has a beauty of its own. So that was my chapter on Aishwarya Rai in Encounters with the Rich and Famous. And if you'd like to take a second look, these were the pictures that I had in the chapter. That's her with Aradhya as a little kid, as a baby, and maybe at 6 months or so. And then this was our beautiful, beautiful experience in Chantilly, the largest dining table setup that I've seen, which was for the Chinese delegation. And then they had this party at night in the castle, which I think is the Chantilly Palace. Or rather it was the museum, it was the Museum of Chantilly, where they never allowed to have public events like dinner parties and things. But because Longines was such a prestigious brand, they actually allowed Longines to host this really bespoke dinner. And all our names were printed on the menus. So it really felt like we were part of a very highly detailed, painstakingly elegant French curated dinner experience. And I proudly wore a Satyapal bag and a Satyapal matching scarf because I do feel that India celebrates color. And no matter how cold it got, I held on to those Indian summery accessories. And at night, they had these white pashmina shawls to keep us warm, which is just as well because my dress and that little shawl that Satyapal made was not tailored for a 4-degree evening. So it was a beautiful, beautiful trip to Chantilly. And yeah, that ends this particular chapter on Aishwarya Rai Bachchan. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care. Bye.